Hello, my name is State Senator Susan Rubio. I represent the 22nd Senate District here in the San Gabriel Valley. Today, I'm really honored to be here to provide some resources and have wonderful guests that are going to help us through this. Once again, welcome to my 2022 Virtual Tax Preparation Information Session. Today, again, I have the honor of having California State Treasurer Fiona Ma join us today to provide insight and services and programs that she has helped implement. So thank you so much for being here with us. Again, a great champion for Californians and our families. For my Spanish speakers, para mis personas que hablan español, bienvenidos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí para recibir información y recursos que les van a ayudar a completar sus declaraciones de impuestos. Estamos en esta sesión, vamos a tener personas que van a traducir en español en tiempo real. So, por favor, vayan al Zoom link en el chat para escuchar esta sesión en español. Pueden hacer clic en un icono que tiene un globo y elegir el audio en español. Si tienen preguntas, por favor, añádenlas a la caja del chat y vamos a tratar de responderles. Si no alcanzamos a responderles a todas las preguntas, por favor, hablen a mi oficina. El número es 626-430-2499. To all of our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, I will say we do have translation in Spanish, and I just gave directive on how they can access the translation. I'm so honored to be here to not only represent you as a state senator, but also to have a great partner in California State Treasurer Fiona Ma that's going to help us navigate such a complicated topic, which is, tax and tax season and all the potential benefits that our families can obtain. I really wanted to say thank you once again, Fiona Ma, for joining us. I want to also extend a special thank you to our partners at United Ways of California for sharing resources with our viewers today. I have the pleasure of being joined by experts in the fields of tax preparation, earned income tax credits, and tax services, of which you will hear from in a few minutes. With our tax professionals today, we hope to provide, again, tips, resources, all this critical information that you will need to file your taxes. And for my Spanish speakers, once again, quisiera recordarles que esta transmisión estará traducida en vivo vaya al Zoom link y por favor, una vez les recuerdo que vayan al icono de un globo para escuchar esta transmisión en español. With that, I would like to pass it over to our special guest today who has joined us, and I know she's very busy, so I'm very honored to have her here today. Fiona Ma, our state treasurer, who's been up and down the state, and I see her working harder than anyone I know. And we're so honored to have you here. I used to be also a bookkeeper for so many years, and I always share that. I used to do state and federal income taxes for other companies, and yet I have a hard time navigating the tax season myself. So with your expertise, I know that our families are going to find, valuable information. So I want to turn it over to you, California State Treasurer Fiona Ma. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Senator Rubio, for all you do to represent your constituents, but also put on such helpful seminars like this as we are going into tax season. I know the United Ways is going to give a lot of tax tips on how you can get your income taxes done for free and some of the tax credits that you can expect if you file your taxes. What I wanted to focus on is 3 savings programs under my office. The first one is Scholarshare 529. This program is intended to help parents save for their child's higher education expenses. It's been around a long time, but still, people don't know about it. And if you're going to have a baby or just had a baby, I tell all my friends, did you open up a Scholarshare 529 account? Because once you do, you can get all of your friends to put money into the account instead of buying like baby clothes that your child is going to outgrow. And then every birthday and special occasion, they can put more money in. So if you put in $100 when your child is born every month, by the time they go to college at age 18, they could have $68,000 in their account. And that would go a long way to keep down student loan debt. We know that is a problem with many families. And The more student loan debt kids have, the later they're going to be able to, get married, buy a house, raise their kids. So we really want to do what we can. Secondly, the other account that we have is Calsavers. If you work for a company that does not provide a retirement savings account and you have 5 or more employees, they will have to upload the roster to our Calsavers platform. It's very easy to do. And once they do, these accounts stay with the workers. So even if you leave the company or you decide you're going to move, this account is your account. And again, you put in $100, every month, it grows, right? And we manage that account. The third one is CalAble. If you are born with a disability diagnosed before the age of 26 years old, you can now open an account and put up to $15,000 in that person's account without jeopardizing their other life safety benefits. So this is a game changer for many people who have disabilities, as well as their families who worry about their children when they grow up. We heard so many times, like, if I have a disabled child, we cannot leave the house to them. They cannot have any bank accounts. We cannot give them any stocks in their name, right? And now they can save up to $15,000 in their own name. And we are working with Congressman Cardenas at the federal level to increase the age of disability to 46 years old. Because some people go to the military, they get hurt, you get hurt on the job, and you also should be able to save money in your own account for your own financial independence and peace of mind. So those are just 3 savings programs under my office. And even during the pandemic, the last 2 years, more and more Californians have opened up accounts and put more money into their savings accounts. So we're really, really happy about Californians thinking about saving for higher education and their retirement.
Thank you for that presentation. I have some questions that were submitted to us. And so hopefully you found that information really helpful. I've had the privilege of being on other panels with you, and this information I did not know. So I'm really thankful that I can learn from you and gather expertise so I can then share with my constituents. I hope everyone took notes, but I do have some specific questions that were submitted to me. Are you required to pay income taxes on earnings in a CalAble account?
No, as long as the money is sitting in the account, it is tax deferred. And if you take money out for qualified expenses under the program, then you do not have to pay taxes on that money.
Thank you for that. Another question that came in, and I know you talked about your Scholarshare 529. So a specific question is, can you go over the steps on how do they open an account or contribute to an existing account?
Great. Very, very easy to do. www.scholarshare529.com. And it'll take about 20 minutes. But if you need help or English is not your first language, there are other languages, accessibility. So you can call and ask for an interpreter to help you do that. And again, that account is in that person's name. Usually it's parents that open the account. I myself opened up an account for my niece who was born 7 months ago. And at some point I will transfer that account to her or her parents to administer. So very, very easy to do. It's never too late. And again, once you open it up, you can send around a gift link. So you can send it to like your sister senator and say, hey, why don't you think about donating, to my child, and watch that money grow. So every little bit helps.
Well, and I think that's an important point you make. How often do we not go, let's say, to birthday parties, or there's something coming up? And of course, putting money into the future of this child would mean a lot. And so I never thought about that. So I think that's important to note, especially that raising children is getting more expensive, paying for college is getting more expensive. So getting those funds early on is really helpful. So I have one more question for you. What is the matching grant program? Can you explain it further?
Yeah, so we offer a number of different incentive programs every single year. So the matching grant program is for eligible families, and we offer up to $225 for opening up a new account. However, the adjusted annual household income needs to be $75,000 or less, and the beneficiary, the student, has to be 14 years or younger. So that is a program that is available, and you need to establish a monthly recurring contribution plan of $25 at the time you open the account, and then you can receive another $25.
Well, thank you. And I think I did hear you talk about your Cal Kids, but someone wants you to go further, deeper into the program and explain what the program is.
Yeah, so Cal Kids is an exciting program. Thanks to the governor and the legislature, the senator herself. The state of California is putting $1.1 billion investing into our next generation. So this July, we will be rolling out 2 programs. If you have a newborn born after July 1st, 2022, they will get $25 just for being born. If they sign up for Scholarshare 529, they'll get another $25. If they link it to an automatic withdrawal, they'll get another $25. In addition, every 1st through 12th grader who is going to a public school and receives free and reduced lunch, they will get $500 into a Scholarshare account. If they are homeless, they'll get another $500. And if foster youth, they'll get another $500. So that could be up to $1,500 into a 1st to 12th grader. So parents and teachers, you're going to get notices from my office saying, this is real. It is real. Don't throw it away. It is not a scam. So the more we talk about it and let our constituents know that this is money that the state is investing in our next generation, the faster they will start saving.
Thank you. And, I do have one more question. Since I have you here, I want to take advantage of you. Which employees are eligible to participate in Calsavers?
Okay, so Calsavers, if your company hires 5 or more employees, you will be required to sign up for our Calsavers program by next June is another deadline for 5 or more. For those that have more than 5, we've already had certain deadlines. And so we are trying to reach out and get as many people registered as possible. So this is if you do not have a retirement savings plan offered at your workplace.
Thank you. It's incredible sometimes when we hear about these programs to think that the government's going to give you $1,500. It sounds unrealistic, let's face it, right? And I know that sometimes we have to be cautious about some of the fraud schemes going on, but you heard it directly from our California State Treasurer, Fiona Ma. These are programs that not only does she manage, but some help create. And so there is a lot of money that's being left on the table. So we want to make sure that every parent, every individual takes advantage of this. And so we're just so honored to have you here today. Thank you so much. You talked about CalAble, Scholarshare 529, and the Calsavers Retirement Program, all of which are very helpful to all of our constituents. So we are so happy to have you here today. Questions keep coming. I have to grab you for one more question, if I may. Okay. This one says, what happens if I join through my employer and then change jobs? What happens then?
Well, if you join in your prior job, this account stays with you. So once your employer uploads the roster to our Calsavers, that employer has no more financial or legal liability. So they are out of the picture, and these accounts belong to you and will go wherever you go in your job and in your life. But I also want to, Susan, since I have you, I set up a dedicated email address. If anybody has any questions after this webinar, or they didn't get their stimulus check, we have a number of different small business programs coming out over the next couple of months. Please keep in touch, but that email is askfiona@treasure.ca.gov. And I have one person totally dedicated to answering those emails, or you can always call my office.
Well, thank you so much. And I want you to look for this lady. She's up and down the state doing these types of resource informational hearings, or via Facebook. Please look for her. She does it all the time. But one important thing to notice, she does have a website. I know that sometimes we talk quite fast here in these webinars, but she has a website. Please go to her site. Again, California State Treasurer Fiona Ma, thank you so much for your time. And I know that you have a busy schedule and are going to have to excuse yourself. So once again, we want to thank you for the time that you gave us.
Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. So next we want to move on to some of the legislation that I've been working on. And these programs are sometimes very difficult for the ordinary citizen to get. And so again, our hope is that we put so much information in your fingertips that you're able to take advantage of it. I've seen a lot of money be left again on the table, and we want to make sure that now more than ever that our families are struggling, that you have access to this money that you deserve and it belongs to you. So once again, we're trying to ensure that we update you on federal and state tax codes, make sure that you have access to information that you'll need for the earned income tax credits. We also want to make sure you're aware of common tax fraud patterns. And there's a lot of fraud going on, especially during tax season. And I've gotten some of those calls. So I caution all of you that let's be very mindful that there's predators out there and trying to take advantage of you. But again, I want to thank Fiona Ma for joining us. But today I want to talk about a little bit more of also what I've done in the legislature. But before I move forward, I want to just share again that if you still need help with tax filing assistance, please call our office. Our office number is 626-430-2499. I'm going to repeat it once again, 626-430-2499, or visit my website. And there's a website called myfreetaxes.org. Once again, myfreetaxes.org to set up an appointment. They are limited, and so we encourage all of you to call and see if you can get an appointment. They're booking fast, but again, this is so important because you need to know what's available to you and what you should be able to get for your family. I want to talk about one bill that I authored, which is SB 860. And my hope with this tax season is to provide not only information, but tangible information and resources for families. Last year, I partnered with CalEITC to introduce SB 691, which is a tax credit expansion for low-wage workers and unpaid caregivers. I know sometimes we don't necessarily value those that stay at home and take care of families, but it is work as well. But this one particular plans to permanently increase the CalEITC for workers who file with an Itin number. So once again, it's for the workers that file with Itin numbers. Furthermore, this bill also will raise the CalEITC benefits to at least $100 to ensure that we can provide at least meaningful relief to those that are not necessarily recognized but are also contribute to our economy and I believe are important members of our society. So another bill to look forward to is another bill I introduced, SB 860, which will expand the eligibility for the Young Child Tax Credit. I think this is something that most of us don't think about, but it's also extremely important because we want to ensure that families receive the Young Tax Credit, even though they don't have an income. And I've been asked a lot of questions as it pertains to this because typically we don't have families filing if they don't have an income. But with this bill, once again, those that stay home will be able to take advantage. The difference is usually $1. So if someone makes $5 to $10 to $1, they qualify, but those that stay home will not. And so we want to make sure that we help Californians, especially, like I said, tackling the issue of the pandemic has left a lot of our families really needing help and resources. And I hope that this bill will help, even in a small way, that it helps our Californians. This will help tackle the poverty crisis that we're dealing with for many reasons, but in particular, again, we mentioned how so many families have been unemployed or have had challenges due to the pandemic, but every little bit helps. So I'm also honored today to have another great presenter, and this is how we do it in the legislature. We partner with amazing folks. We don't always have the answer to everything, but as you just heard, our treasurer, Fiona Ma, give some amazing information. We also have here someone that's going to help us, Shantae Armstrong. Thank you so much for being here. It's so important to partner with organizations like yours. And I've also been in other panels with the organization, and you guys do an amazing job just providing resources and everything that our families need. So I will turn it over to you. Thank you for being here, Shantae.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. Thank you for having us. We really appreciate the collaboration and the ability to speak about tax credits and all the relevant information. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys see my screen okay? I'm gonna assume yes.
I do see it.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Shantae Armstrong, and I am the Federal EITC Program Manager at United Ways of California, and which is also known as Trusted Messengers. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about tax credits and what to look for when you're filing your taxes, as well as different ways to file your taxes. So I'm with United Ways of California. And so, like I said, we're going to cover who United Ways of California is, tax credits you should ask about when you are filing your taxes, what it means to apply for an I-10 and what an I-10 is, what to be careful about when you're filing your taxes and what to look for, and how to file your taxes for free. So who are we? United Ways of California is a nonprofit, and we improve the health, education, and financial results for low-income children and families by enhancing and coordinating the advocacy and community impact work of California's 29 local United Ways. For more information, you can visit us here at unitedwaysca.org. So we are a statewide organization, and we do work with the 29 local United Ways around the state. So now we're going to get into tax credits to ask about when you are going to file your taxes, and a little bit about the difference between tax credits and tax deductions. So tax deductions and tax credits are very similar. They both reduce your taxable income, but there's a difference in that tax credits will return any extra funds to you through your tax refund, whereas tax deductions will reduce the amount of money that you owe, but won't necessarily give you money back. Some popular tax deductions include childcare expenses, medical expenses, or education expenses. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about different types of tax credits, and they're organized between federal tax credits and state tax credits. And so this is money that is owed back to you that you've earned. And so we want to make sure that you're able to get 100% of your refund. So first, we're going to go talk about the federal credits. And so I mentioned earlier that I am the Federal EITC Program Manager. And so what that means is the EITC stands for the Earned Income Tax Credit. So in order to claim this tax credit and get your money back, you must file a federal tax return. So we want to encourage everybody who qualifies to file a federal return. Unfortunately, people with I-10s are not eligible for the EITC, but if you have a social security number, you do qualify. So that means you must be a US citizen or resident alien all year. So that means from January of 2021 to December of 2021, you must have been a US citizen. If you are single without any dependents, you may be eligible for the EITC, but you do have to be between ages 25 and 65. You cannot be, when you file your taxes, there are different filing statuses. And so The only filing status that is not eligible for the EITC is married and filing separately. And you cannot be a dependent of another person. So what that means is that you must be the person filing the taxes and not being claimed on somebody else's taxes. But with the EITC, you can earn up to $6,660, which is a lot of money back in your pockets. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the EITC income eligibility. So what this means is the amount of money that you the maximum amount of money that you have had to earn last year. And so if you are claiming, there are different amounts depending on how you're filing. So if you're claiming no children or no relatives, the maximum amount you have had to earn last year is $21,430. If you're filing single, head of household, widowed, and you cannot be claiming EITC if you're married filing separately. But if you're married filing jointly, the maximum is $27,380. If you're claiming one person, the maximum is $42,158 or $48,108. And if you're claiming two dependents, the maximum is $47,915 or $53,865. And three or more children or dependents is $51,464 or $57,414. So you can see that the maximum income increases with the amount of dependents that you are claiming. And so just to be clear, a dependent can be a child. It can also be another relative, such as a parent. So the other tax credit that we want to talk about, the federal tax credit, is the child tax credit, also known as the CTC. So this tax credit is really important because last year you may have filed your taxes and received half of the amount of your CTC, your child tax credit. So in order to receive the other half, you must file your 2021 taxes. And we are encouraging everybody to file their taxes as soon as possible because the IRS is backed up. And in order to receive your taxes, your refund as soon as possible, we want you to file early. But in order to qualify for the CTC, you do not have to have any earned income. So please, we want to encourage everybody who has children and who's claiming children to file their taxes and claim the child tax credit, right? So when you go and you file your taxes, make sure you ask about these tax credits that you may qualify for and advocate for yourself. The income guidelines is that you must have made under $75,000 if it's just you filing, or if as a single filer, if you're claiming as a head of household, the maximum income that you have had to make is 100, I don't know why I can't read this number right now, 101 to 500 for heads of household and 150,000 for those married filing jointly. Sorry, my brain just skipped out on me for a second. If your spouse, if you're married filing jointly, you must also have lived in the United States for more than half of last year, or filed a joint return with a spouse who has a main home in the United States for more than half the year. And you must have a qualifying child under the age of 18 by December of 2021 with a valid Social Security number and made less than the income limits that I addressed up here. So with this child tax credit, like I mentioned, please make sure you advocate for yourself and go file your taxes, even if you don't have any earned income, because you can get up to $3,000 per qualifying dependent under 18, or $3,600 per qualifying dependent under age 6. So that is also a lot of money that we want to make sure that is in your pockets. So now we're going to talk about the state credits. We just talked about the federal credits. So as Senator Rubio discussed earlier, the CalEITC, also known as the California Earned Income Tax Credit, is a state tax credit. And your income must be between $1 and $30,000. Okay, so no matter how many dependents you're claiming, you must have made under $30,000. People with I-10s do qualify for the CalEITC. Woohoo! So please make sure that you advocate for yourself if you have an I-10 or social security number and ask about the CalEITC. You must file a state return. So please make sure you're filing state and federal. You must be at least 18 years old or have a child. So that means if you're under 18 years old and you have a child, you may qualify for the CalEITC. So this includes young adults in college, young adults transitioning from foster care, and seniors. You must have worked for an employer or worked for yourself. So for this CalEITC, you must have earned income, and you must have lived in California at least half the year. You cannot be married and filing separately as a tax filing status, and you cannot be a dependent of another person. But with the CalEITC, you can earn back up to $3,027. So if you're filing and you're claiming the CalEITC, the CTC, the EITC, you could be getting a refund of thousands of dollars in your pockets. And so for this CalEITC, you also have 4 years to go back and claim this money. So that means that if you didn't file your taxes from any time between 2018 to till now, you can claim those tax years when you file your taxes. And for the federal EITC, you have 3 years. So that means from 2019, 2020, and 2021, you have the opportunity to claim the taxes for those years as well. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the CalEITC income eligibility. So you can see this big red circle shows that the maximum income for CalEITC, no matter if you have 0 children or 5 children or 1 child, you must have made under $30,000 last year. Okay, the second state tax credit I'm going to talk about is the Young Child Tax Credit, also known as the YCTC. So there's a lot of acronyms, but with this, you can earn up to $1,000. So you must file a state return. And if you qualify for the Young Child Tax Credit, then you will qualify for the CalEITC as well. And you must have at least 1 child under age 6. Okay, so next we're going to talk about what it means to apply for an I-10, what an I-10 is, in case you don't know. So what is an I-10? So here's a nice visual of what an I-10 card looks like. An I-10 is a tax processing number available to certain immigrants who cannot get a social security number. So this will allow you to file your taxes and claim the money that is that you earned and your refund. So I-10s are issued by the IRS and issued regardless of your immigration status. I-10s allow individuals ineligible, so that not eligible for a social security number, to do things like report your earnings to the IRS for tax purposes, open a bank account with certain banks, and also conduct business in the US. So if you already have an I-10 or you want to keep it or renew it, you can do that by completing the W-7 form, which is also known as the I-10 application. You can apply for an I-10 or renew your I-10 on your own, or at a free tax prep site, also known as a VITA site, or with the help of a certified acceptance agent. So if you'd like to know more information, please visit myfreetaxes.org. On there, we do have all of this written down in Spanish and English. And so you can look at this in case you need to remind yourself what's an I-10, find a checklist of what do I need to apply. All of that information is on myfreetaxes.org. So we want to encourage people to file for free. And so we have IRS certified tax prep volunteers to help you file your taxes for free. And if you're not sure if you qualify, I would encourage you to still file your taxes for free and see how much money you can get back, because a lot of people who don't think they qualify do actually qualify. And so there's also, there are paid tax preparers as well as free tax preparers. And so paid tax preparers may not know about some of these tax credits that I was telling you about. And so I want you to make sure that no matter if you have friends and family going to paid tax preparers, that you're telling them to advocate for themselves and ask about tax credits, because it's important that no matter who you go to, that you are asking about the tax credit so you can get the maximum refund owed back to you. But as I mentioned before, all free tax prep volunteers are IRS certified and completely legitimate. So I mentioned that some paid preparers might not be aware of tax credits, like the CalEITC. Actually, 92% of people who missed out on the CalEITC tax credit had used an in-person paid tax preparer. So we want to make sure that everybody knows how much they qualify and can get back as much as they can. We also want to tell people the difference between, right, what to look for when you're going out there and filing your taxes. So be careful of tax schemes. You should never be charged for a service you haven't received yet. So if you're going to file your taxes and somebody asks you to pay upfront, that's a red flag. Please be careful. You should only pay after you've received your taxes and gotten them done. If you're being charged prices that are a higher or a percentage of your refund, be careful of that. That's also a red flag. On average, paid preparers charge about $200. Make sure that if you have a refund, it is sent directly to you or deposited into your direct deposit into a bank account. You should never have your refund be directly deposited into a paid tax preparer's bank account. Okay, and then also another red flag to look for is if a paid tax preparer promises to get your refund upfront or faster. Typically, they may take a larger portion of what is supposed to be owed to them. So other things to look for if you're getting, if you're paying someone to do your taxes, are preparers that make promises on a quick turnaround. You will usually receive your refund between 4 to 8 weeks from the time you filed your taxes. If it's sooner than that, please be mindful that that may be a scheme. Also, be wary of those who try untraditional ways of receiving your refund. The IRS will never demand that people use any specific payment method, such as a prepaid debit card, gift card, or wire transfer, or ask for debit or credit card numbers over the phone. That is definitely a red flag to look for. You should only be getting your refund, like I said, directly deposited into your bank account or in a check sent to the address that you provide. So we do want to encourage everybody to file your taxes for free, in person, online, or with help, or on your own. It's super easy. I filed my taxes for free late, but I filed them for free on myfreetaxes.org. I got my refund back within a few weeks, and I was a little intimidated, I will say, but I did it, and it was super easy, much easier than I thought it was going to be. And so I would encourage everybody to go to myfreetaxes.org, right? So step one is, don't let misconceptions stop you from getting a refund. Your I-10 status cannot be used against you when applying for citizenship. It is not considered a public charge. This is your money. You earned it, and it belongs to you. It also will not affect any public benefits. So if you have CalWorks, CalFresh, or Medi-Cal, filing your taxes and receiving a refund will have no effect on your public benefits, okay? So that's safe and secure. And like I mentioned before, I-10 holders are eligible for tax credits, the CalEITC and the Golden State Stimulus. And I-10 guardians can receive child tax credit payments if the child has a social security number. And even if the guardian only has an I-10 and not a social security number, they will still qualify. Again, money through credits like the child tax credit are not loans. You will never have to pay them back. This is your money, and it is for you to spend it on whatever you need. So step 2, learn what updates to be aware of. File early. The IRS is still processing returns from last. the tax checklist on myfreetaxes.org. I know I have a whole bunch of things to look from, like that you receive your things in the mail that you need, your W-2s, and you're gonna want to gather all those together and make sure that you have those ready for when you're gonna file your taxes. These delays are also affecting Itin applications, so be mindful that that may take up to a year to certify. This year, the IRS sent out CTC letters. So if you received half of your child tax credit, you will have received a letter from the IRS stating how much it was, and you will need to bring that to your tax appointment, whether it's in person or online. Okay, so we talked a little bit about what necessary documents you may need. So on My Free Taxes, you'll find a tax prep checklist. It's really important that you get organized ahead of time so that you can get the maximum amount of refund that is yours. So the things that you may need are W-2s for each job that you held, for each person in the household that you're claiming, and yourself. 1099s, which show other income such as unemployment, Social Security, school loans, healthcare reimbursement, state tax refund, etc. 1098s, showing payments you've made that can reduce your tax liability. 1095As, if you received credit from the healthcare.gov marketplace. Income interest statements for any savings accounts or investments, bank account numbers for direct deposit. This is if you want to receive your refund back in your bank account. So if you have a check with your name on it, your bank account number, you can find it there. And last year's tax return. This is also really helpful because it'll show your free tax prep coordinator how much you might have received last year, which you may need when you're filing this year. So I know I'm talking pretty fast and there's a lot of things that you may need and not everybody will need these things. So I want to remind you to go on myfreetaxes.org and see what you specifically will need. And like I mentioned, it's in both Spanish and English. Okay, so I just said this, so we want to go to myfreetaxes.org, file your taxes for free. Spaces are limited, so if spaces are limited around the state or in your local area, like I said, you can file on your own and it's super quick, it's easy, and it will look at the credits that you are eligible for. You can file with virtual help or you can schedule in-person help at a local free tax prep site. Okay, so you want to choose which one is most appealing to you. You can file on your own with TaxSlayer software. This is software that is completely legitimate. There are no income limits. So you can have made $200,000, you could have made $10,000. It doesn't matter. You can file on your own there, and it's available in Spanish and English. You can file virtually with help. The income limit here is $58,000, and it's available in Spanish and English. And it is all virtual, so all documents will need to be uploaded. And you can also make an appointment to go to a free tax prep site in your area. The income limit is $58,000, and there may be there's Spanish and English help and potentially other languages available depending on the free tax prep site. You must bring all required documents to your appointment. So again, that's where the tax prep checklist will be helpful. And if you have any more questions, please text the word taxes to 211-211. So 211 is the phone number and taxes is the message. Oops, excuse me. And it will help you calculate your tax credits and help you find out which tax credits you're eligible for, help you file your taxes for free by directing you to the proper locations, and help you learn how to apply for an I-10. So we want to thank everybody for your time and Senator Rubio's office for having us, collaborating with us. You can find us at My Free Taxes at unitedwaysca.org and find us also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at United Ways CA.
Wow, thank you so much. Now everyone knows why I invited Shantae Armstrong to join us because she is the expert here, and clearly I'm not, but a lot of good information here. I just wanted to do a little lightning round. We got a lot of questions that came in, and I know a lot of it you had already shared, but if I may, I want to ask a couple of questions. Just, I guess it's worth repeating. If first question I got is, are Itin holders eligible for the child tax credit? Would you like to repeat that?
Sure. So let me just go back to my, so child tax credit. So I-10 holders, yes, if you have a child who has a social security number, I-10 holders are eligible for the child tax credit.
Now, the next question is, it's really important, and I find that a lot of my community struggles with this. And thank you for being trusted partners and messengers, as you earlier referred to. This question states, will applying for an I-10 affect my immigration status or residency in the future?
No, applying for an I-10 will not affect your immigration status.
Thank you. The next question I have is, are there any tax credits for college expenses or childcare?
There aren't any credits, but both college and childcare expenses count as a potential tax deduction. So this means that it will reduce the amount of money you owe, helping save the amount you pay towards your taxes. You need to include receipts for all of these expenses.
Thank you for that. And a couple more. This is about your service. Are there income limits to file your taxes for free?
Yes, there are. If you're hoping to file your taxes for free with a VITA or a free tax prep volunteer, you need to make below $58,000 along with some other qualifications. To see if you qualify, you can text the word taxes to 211-211.
Thank you. One last question that I'll throw your way. Is it free to file both state and federal taxes?
Yes, it is completely free. All resources you can file on myfreetaxes.org are 100% free.
Oh, thank you. Again, your expertise is greatly appreciated on this, webinar. And I just want to say thank you for your partnership. I hope that this information and the Q&A was informative, and that gives you a sense of comfort that that there are services out there for free, and that also to be very mindful, again, as I stated earlier, that during tax season, there's a lot of fraud. And so please just be extra careful and vigilant that you're going to the right people. I want to also just share that, I think we talked about appointments. I did have a question here in particular about what happens if I try to make an appointment and it's full, but I know that you gave resources where they can go and get more information on your website. So I'm just really thankful that you're able to be here. And again, for all those that are afraid to file taxes, you can reach out to them. I always find them to be really community oriented, trusted messengers, and also they have Spanish and English, which sometimes can be a challenge for those that don't understand the language. Let me see here. There's another question that just came in real quickly. So these are just reminders. So this is going to be on Facebook, and I believe that you mentioned all the links and all the information where they can reach you. So they can always, reach out to United Way. They're happy to help out. Lastly, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. And again, thank you to our treasurer, Fiona Ma, United Way, and our partners. Shantae, your expertise. I know it's sometimes is tedious information in terms of getting everything down in 1 hour, but we're so happy that they're able to, our community is able to reach out and get the information and get help. And of course, our office is always here available as well. But I just want to reiterate for those joining us that we're trying to make sure that the information gets to you, and that you know that there's credits out there that some families are not taking advantage of. So again, I will remind folks about my two bills they should be looking out for: SB 691, which is a tax credit expansion for low-wage workers and unpaid caregivers, especially with Itin numbers. The second bill that you should look for is SB 860, which will remove the unnecessary work requirement. That's the one I previously spoke about, changing the thresholds from $1 to $0 earnings so that the distribution is equitable, especially for low-income families. And this tax credit will be up to $1,000 for each child under 6 years of age. Again, especially our families that are struggling. I want to take a moment to thank the Governor Newsom, and Pro Tem Atkins, who've also been very supportive. And I think that this bill that I have put forward also reflects Governor Gavin Newsom's proposed budget. So I'm thankful that there will be funding. So hopefully we can get it through the finish line. Again, I want to ask everyone to review this on Facebook and my social media platforms. If you want to go and, review the information that was provided. It was a lot coming your way, but hopefully we're able to get you some help, and the information was, able to get you at a better place. My website is sd22.senate.ca.gov. Once again, sd22.senate.ca.gov. You can also find me on my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I want to thank all of you for your patience and staying with us this entire hour. And hopefully we've been able to help. Thank you again, Shantae and Fiona Ma, and all of you that joined us here today. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future. Have a wonderful day today.